Hello and welcome to Film Family. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about Quentin Tarantino's ninth film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think before, though, we get into it because it's based in the time period, it's way before all of our times. Yeah. And I personally didn't follow anything about the Charles Manson.
Oh, yeah.
That whole story. I mean, I knew what happened in the house and what happened with Sharon Tate, but that was the extent. Do you know anything about it, like beyond that?
No, not really. I mean, I never read into it. I just wasn't interested. But I was gonna say this movie's not really a Charles Manson. It's kind of deceptively a Charles Manson movie because I think a lot of people went in expecting there to be. But yeah, we'll talk about that later.
And did you know much about it? Because it is closer to you.
Yeah, I actually did know.
I mean, he's not that old.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but I mean, he wouldn't know about it, but people talking about it.
Yeah, I didn't know about the murders and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, well, okay. So, this movie, it's his ninth movie, even though I consider it to be his 10th. But I think this is a movie that, I've been telling a lot of people that it's not the most Tarantino movie. I actually think it's the least. But that's not always a bad thing because it lends itself to be more of a normal movie at points. And then when it gets to its, crazier parts, then it feels like then you pulled that normalcy and then, shove it into the Tarantino-ness. So that's something that I find, pretty interesting about this movie.
Are you qualifying a Tarantino movie like a spaghetti western, like the gore and stuff, or what?
No,
what makes it a
the
Tarantino
sharp
movie?
dialogue, the camera movements of, very specific camera movements, the gore, obviously. And this movie doesn't really have any gore till the very end. So, a lot of Tarantino movies have that gore. And since you were saying anything about western, Tarantino, with every movie, likes to experiment, and he's done so many different genres. And this movie is really not a genre movie, but it's more of him not just it's him leaving his genre phase and more respecting film as a whole. Because if you've seen any interview of Quentin Tarantino, he's an insanely big film fan. Obviously, he's a filmmaker, and he's one of the few filmmakers I think left who truly love the art of film and the idea. He shoots on film. So this is a movie that it really feels like classical Hollywood in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I really like this movie. It definitely has a love letter feel to
for sure.
the old days, and being in film myself, I really liked how he, the shots and everything like that.
There's some really good shots. He always has longer takes of dialogue, which has always impressed me with his actors. But this movie has takes where people will be speaking and the camera will pan out and go to the next house.
Yeah.
And I was questioning how they even did that because it looks way too high to be a dolly or a crane or anything. But he doesn't use drones.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to see the making of because the shots in this movie were
You'd be surprised
spectacular.
how big the jibs come. I've seen a 40-foot crane.
Yeah, maybe. If so, that's awesome. It's a great shot. But he's such a technically sound director. That's the thing about Tarantino is I think this is just kind of a small thing to say is that with the first half of his career, which is everything pre-Death Proof, it's more movies in modern times with a Tarantino twist, and then movies post-Death Proof is movies dealing with certain periods of the world, and then he adds his Tarantino-isms to that. So I think that's something that's interesting because this is a movie that's, like we said, about classic Hollywood. Yeah. And it has his dialogue.
I like the movie, and I don't want to sound like I didn't like the movie. I think it was an excellent showmanship of great acting, great directing, editing, sound design. I had a little issue with the sound design, which I don't know if it was the theater.
I think that was our theater.
Because it sounded like when we were watching it, the
sides.
sound was going from left to right, and it was off.
That was weird.
But I didn't know if it was a little homage to how faulty
I don't think
stuff
so.
was
I don't
back
think
in
so.
the
I don't
day.
think
No,
so.
that was the system backing up. It has a backup sound.
Well, it's probably because
kept
too
going back
they don't
and
run the
forth.
film a lot on that.
Okay, well,
theater.
ArcLight ruined my Quentin Tarantino experience.
We should have got a refund.
Yeah, we should have.
Thinking
It
about
was audio wasn't that bad.
But
no, but they pride themselves.
I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting more Charles Manson involved because I was hoping to learn a little bit about that, and I was a little disappointed that it was only used as a backdrop for it. I think it was great on dialogue, great on acting. Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt absolutely killed it. Fantastic. Loved it. But I agree, it wasn't one of the Tarantino movies, but I still think it was pretty solid.
Allow me to retort. The thing is that that's his whole point of this movie is that he knows that you're going and seeing Sharon Tate and Charles Manson, even if he's not in the movie for very long.
Yeah,
but
at all.
No, he was in one shot, I think. I don't know.
It, 30 seconds.
Very, very small
The wave
amount.
in the commercial.
Yeah. But you think, we're gonna see this goriness, and Tarantino might change history like he's done in a couple of his movies. But no, Charles Manson isn't anywhere to be found. And I don't know if it was respecting the Sharon Tate did not want to show her die with like what happened in real life, or it was just him trying to play with the audience expectations. But I actually really liked that. At first, I didn't dislike it, but I was questioning if that was the right move. But like, with further thought on that, I thought that was a very good, choice.
The ending
to kind of subvert the expectations.
Was quality. Like if it didn't end how it ended, I don't think I would like it as much as I did.
Our theater would start clapping when he came out the flamethrower.
Oh, that was amazing.
Quentin Tarantino, he's really smart with what he does in his movies because he makes the protagonist, deal with a lot of trials, and then there's that moment where the villains get their comeuppance, like something that you would see out of like a serial movie from the '60s or like something with superheroes, but he just has people getting shot and burned alive, but you clap for it because they're the enemy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and then we talked about.
I also forgot to say Margot Robbie's acting was very good.
She was very good. She wasn't obviously the main piece of the movie. She was more of kind of something to show Hollywood itself and to kind of contrast because obviously she was up and coming while Rick Dalton was failing. But she was really good for her part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should talk about the DiCaprio Brad Pitt bromance of really good. They were both very good.
Fantastic.
Great relationship, great chemistry. Which one did you like more in this movie?
Ooh, that's a good
question. For me, I was asking myself, and I said Brad Pitt. I think Leo's performance is a little bit better because he did a little more with it. But as a character, I loved Cliff Booth. He was like chill. Yeah. Loved his dog.
Yeah.
He was the cool
of
guy.
course. Yeah, he's the cool guy. If you're basing it off of that, then I would agree with that.
It kind of has like that. It's not like Pulp Fiction, but when people are like Travolta or Samuel Jackson, it's like which one did you like better? Yeah. It's exactly like that. It's like hard to choose because there's certain scenes where Leonardo just steals it, and then there's other ones where Brad Pitt just kills it.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is when he's in the trailer yelling at himself.
He's like, "I will shoot you by the
kill you if you have another drink." All right, just one more.
Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm glad that he was in this movie. He did a really good job. His accent was pretty solid, his southern accent. But I think too, since we were talking about the westerns, obviously Tarantino loves westerns. His last two movies have been pseudo westerns in ways. Django was like a straight western. But this movie is him not just saying that he likes westerns, but he's telling you what type of shows he grew up on. Obviously, Bounty Law, from the show.
Was that a real show? I thought that was fake. Are you serious?
No, I was saying it's a real fake show.
Oh, okay.
But I was saying it's like Bonanza and Gunsmoke, and shows that he grew up on. And he's like, if you watch interviews with him, he's adamantly said that how much he loves those shows, and he kind of pays a lot of homage with Rick Dalton being the star and all those kind of things. Yeah, I was gonna say this movie, the plot isn't too heavy. It's kind of things just happening. It's probably his least plot-driven movie. But I still think the point of the movie is really just to show you a time period, and it's not more to have a strong plot.
Did you guys feel in the middle that you didn't know what was going to happen in a way, in terms of for me, and I loved the movie. Let's get this straight. But at one point, I was like, okay, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
And then it
dragged on a little bit.
And then the payoff paid off.
Well, I think Tarantino, because his last movie, Hateful Eight, is a little bit like that too. It's a little slow at points, where it's kind of just people doing stuff, but it's in a slow fashion. It's not edited quickly, and I think. I don't know if that's because he's getting older and maybe he likes those type of shots or whatever, but it's something that even though I personally am not the hugest fan of it, I appreciate that he has things showing Brad Pitt just making macaroni and cheese or whatever, and hanging out with his dog.
Being normal.
Yeah, just being normal. I think he wanted to add that a little more because a lot of his previous movies, they have those dialogue scenes where people are sitting down, but it doesn't always feel like normal. There's always a tense situation. But this, those movies, it's a little more, I guess I would say chill, There's a little more chill factor to it.
Yeah, I kind of, I think I'm going to take a page from you, BG, and stop watching trailers because that was a
couple of jokes.
Yeah. A couple. For me, in terms, and you said with Manson, that was the scene.
Yeah.
It's for me, that was the only thing that really bothered me was I felt like I saw a lot of the movie in the trailer.
At least the best parts.
Yeah.
The rest is kind of
except for the last bit.
You didn't see any of the ending,
which is great. Great. But that's the whole why I said maybe for me, if I hadn't seen the trailer, I wouldn't have thought the middle was dragged at all. I would have been like, oh, this is really cool.
It's not just that. I think some of the best jokes in this movie, some of the best comedic moments, and even the Bruce Lee thing. I would have loved to see that Bruce Lee thing as a surprise. But
or the little girl saying you're the best actor.
Yeah, that was a little bit,
that for
me. It was
me.
a little frustrating.
Yeah, because then he, him crying, I was expecting it, as opposed to really, I think if I would have saw that with a fresh face, I would have been like, wow,
Yeah.
you know, now I know why he acted the way he did was because he respected her in terms of her craft.
Yeah. No, it was there was a couple things like that. I think we should talk about the cinematography in this movie because Tarantino, you might like his older movies better, you might like his new ones, but I think with like every new movie of like his new, post Death Proof career, the cinematography has gone better. Django's cinematography was excellent. Hateful Eight, shot on Panavision, was like probably even better. And this movie like was extremely good looking. It was so authentic. The production design with the sets were great,
and the sound. I liked how he incorporated like older music into it to really put you into that vibe. And he always does that. I think very well. No, I really love Django's album.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
No, he's a soundtrack master. He's only done the score for one movie, The Hateful Eight. So he went back to his soundtrack roots, which I was happy with, and so many classic songs, so many songs like that I hadn't really heard. I was like, oh, it's a good song, but it all fit the movie extremely well. And I like how towards like the end when they go to Italy and they come back, how they gave that little like voiceover scene. Like it reminded me a little bit of Wolf of Wall Street. How they were just explaining their lives, and like Cliff Booth was in the back. I forgot what he was drinking. Like, but that was interesting. And then that kind of leads into the final act or final thing, which I think we should talk about. We never said spoiler alert.
It's a given. Yeah. I'm not going to waste any time with that. Like, we need to put it in the channel. It's spoilers.
Yeah, it's all spoilers. But so what was that the best part of the movie for you guys?
Was the ending?
Yeah,
definitely. I think what they did what he did was he basically everything was a setup up to that point, like things that he showed you, like the flamethrower scene where he's like talking about like and that he practiced for the
dog, learning to be trained.
So it's like all that stuff that you're like, okay, where's this going? It was all setting up for the payoff at the end, which is great.
No, that was excellent. I thought I like the comedy, or I like how he's obviously like on the acid, but he's like still remaining calm, but he knows like he's on acid, so he's like, and he just lets the dog do. He sets up, he's like, and then the dog did. That was pretty cool to me.
He messed up the girl with the smacking her head into
that. That was some Tarantino gore, and like we said, that when he comes out with the flamethrower, that was awesome. That was one of those things that Tarantino could only do.
But what I thought was even funnier is just how they went to socializing right after.
I love how the guy's like, hey, you Rick Dolan or whatever, and he tells him he loves the show, and he goes, is everybody okay? And he goes, the hippies aren't, but he goes, we're doing pretty good.
Everybody's fine. I mean, the hippies are.
Yeah. He's like, they're pretty dead. Yeah, that was one of the funniest scenes. And I like too, like the ending was like positive. Like it's something I said. Tarantino has so many like deaths in his movies. A lot of times with the main characters, but the ending always feels like positive.
And that's probably why he may have done this, because realistically, you don't have a happy ending with.
No, Sharon Tate dies, and it's very gory. And I even thought. I was not sure if he was going to do it when Sharon Tate invited him up. And she's like, I have a friend here. I was like, oh, it might be Charles Manson. And then they might end the movie on a cliffhanger. But he decided to make it like kind of just happy, Like they hung out in Hollywood. Tarantino like knows how to end his movies. And I think like at that final shot of like kind of above seeing them hang out, and it was like, written and directed by Quint. I think that was one of his better endings to his movies.
I also like the commercials at the end for the Red Apple cigarettes and how it tied back into the Red Apple from
in every one of his movies.
Oh, is it Red Apple in every movie?
Yeah,
Red Apple.
It's been in every single one of his movies. Yeah, and there was, I don't know, at the theater we went to, they gave us like these little magazines, and if you look on the very last page, there's an advertisement for Big Kahuna Burger from Pulp Fiction.
Oh wow,
that was cool.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. That was really cool. And then there was that club they went, or the restaurant where him and Dalton, Rick Booth and Cliff Dalton hung out. Oh shoot, I don't know. I think I just messed up their names. But like when they were at the restaurant and they were like drinking margaritas or whatever, it's called Casa Vega, and like Vega is the last name of John Travolta and then his brother in Reservoir Dogs. So
maybe he's gonna come back and make a movie and tie them all in.
No, probably not. That'd be interesting.
And it's gonna be a combination of like Back to the Future, and the crazy doctor's gonna come out and tie in all the movies. It'd be a good movie.
No, but like I said, this. Oh, and the one other scene is that scene at the farm or whatever where he's going to see. Yeah. What great tension.
Yeah,
it was great, but I don't know what place it played in the actual film. I felt like it was.
It was that they were. He thought he was making you think that they were going to kill him, or Charles Manson was going to come in, because they said that they're like, oh, Charlie's away right now.
That's where Charles Manson actually.
Yeah, but I felt like Cliff Booth was too cool to be killed by a bunch of like underage women.
Well, I mean,
Well, look at Travolta, or that.
I mean, there's people like there's a bunch of them. He's not going to fight off like 15 people.
I guess, but he did kick Buddy's face in.
Yeah, but there's one guy. At the end of the day, I was saying like they're trying to make you think Cliff Booth is going to die, but realistically, like I just thought that was such a good scene. I like how she never lied. He was really blind.
Yeah,
he likes to watch because we thought there would be a dead body, and Yeah. But I remember like that scene was that was brilliant tension. It's Tarantino's so good at that.
I like how you use the same people too, like from Hateful Eight and Django.
Yeah, Tarantino always works with such great actors, and it's because of his direction they're even better. But yeah, I don't want to give this movie a final score for me because this is one of those movies. It reminds me a little bit like of Silence, directed by Martin Scorsese. It's like one viewing. I don't know if it's quite appropriate to judge the movie off of that. Like right now, I'd probably give it like a 9 or something. But I don't know. I'm not going to give it a final rating. I'm just going to say go see it for yourself. It's definitely a good movie.
I'm going to give it a 9, a very confident 9, because I feel like it only gets better if I watched it more without the expectation of the Manson murders.
Yeah. No, definitely like big expectations, with that. And like that was smart that they, like I said, that he decided to kind of pull the rug out under his audience. That was something that he does too. But like, I do think it's a movie too. You can appreciate some of the, the direction more if you rewatch it, and just like the whole scope of it, just showing 1969 Hollywood. So,
and I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, because Leonardo said this in an interview that there is no CGI used to make Hollywood look that way. That they
I wouldn't be surprised. Tarantino does
that would
everything.
Be crazy though, because they had so many cars. They'd have to shut down very popular.
Oh, they did.
streets.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Okay, but they were on Sunset Boulevard at one point.
down.
They had to redo the buildings.
They
How did they redo the buildings without
it's
CGI?
Tarantino. Some directors are respected enough to do whatever they want.
Just because you're Tarantino doesn't mean you can just throw money at something and say, "Let me shut down all these businesses."
Does. When you are I'm not saying there's a lot. There's maybe like 5 or 10 directors, but Tarantino's one of them.
I'm very interested to see.
You should look it up.
I want to know if it's true.
You should look it up.
Yeah,
you should look it up. They're shutting stuff down for him. He literally.
I get that, but I would like to see if they use no CGI because that's a bold statement.
That's what Leonardo said. I gotta see. I gotta check. I gotta
double check. That's a very big
special effects isn't just CGI. They could have used fake, props, but not CGI.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. It's like if they did that, that's props to them because that's expensive.
I think it's Tarantino. He's a purist at heart.
He is a purist.
But yeah, no. So yeah, really solid movie. Oh, did you rate it?
No, well, I motioned. I would definitely give it a solid 9 as well, because I think that.
And it's his 9th movie, guys.
Yeah. I think
it's not really.
I think by seeing it again, it's definitely just going to get better for me.
Yep.
And I really liked it the first time, and I definitely will see it again.
Yeah, so go see this movie for yourself. I think a lot of people are gonna call this movie boring. Unfortunately, especially younger people.
You think so?
I think they're not. It's not going to be what they. Because when you hear Quentin Tarantino, you hear you expect guns and dialogue and that's it. But this movie's less dialogue and more kind of. It's probably more showing and less telling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that people might not like. But go see it for yourself. Let us know what you think. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you on the next one.
Adios.